Hi guys, how are you doing? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. I am doing okay. I hope you've been keeping warm. If you're in Australia, it's completely very cold. It is absolutely cold. But anyway, we thank God for everything. Now, today guys, I've come back with a very interesting topic. I've seen all over the internet, people are talking about this new carer visa, and it is actually very new. And as well as my followers, I would like as well to share the same information which is out and is fresh. I would like to share it with you. Now, this information I want to share about today is the new carer visa. This new carer visa has been announced by the government just in the recent days, and it has come to really save the workforce because there have been a lot of shortages in our aged care sector, and therefore the government has realized that it needs to utilize employees or workers from overseas, and therefore the government has come up with this new agreement which is called Aged Care Industry Labor Agreement. What does this mean? So Aged Care Industry Labor Agreement, specifically, it's basically giving the aged care facilities or the aged care businesses the mandate or a go ahead to recruit workers from overseas. Now, but then they have to prove that they have been looking for workers in Australia. They have put advertisements out there, and they have not been able to find the correct or the appropriate candidates for the positions they're advertising for. Therefore, these aged care facilities, they come into a memorandum of understanding between themselves and three institutions selected by the government, named Australian Nursing and Midwifery Federation, Health Services Union, and United Workers Union. So basically, this memorandum of understanding, this is what it basically means. So let's give an example of an aged care A. An aged care A comes and discuss with either Australian Nursing and Midwifery Federation or United Workers Union or Health Services Union. And these aged care, they discuss with these institutions and say, look, we've been looking for workers. We've been looking, we have a lot of shortage, a big shortage in our facility, and we need workers. And therefore, we need to get workers from overseas. Now, if these institutions approve and they with their mandated search, they search this aged care and they see it is true, they are looking for workers and they need workers, therefore they are certified to go ahead and look for workers from overseas. But it doesn't end there. From there, after this approval, then the aged care goes ahead and applies for this labor agreement to the government, which is the Department of Home Affairs, and they need to do the application themselves on the IMI account. From that, the government or the immigration department does a rigorous search on this aged care and see if they are qualified business, if they operate on the conditions that are stipulated by the government, and if they are found fit, then the agreement is finalized. When the agreement is finalized, that's when now this aged care starts looking for employees outside of Australia. Now, they make the advertisements on the Seek, Indeed, and all the other job seeking applications. And also they put the advertisements on the websites. At the moment, this thing is very fresh, it is very new, so therefore I would imagine there will not be so many jobs out there just at the moment, because the aged cares are trying now to come into this MOU and then make the application, and it's not something that takes a few days. So therefore you might go on the websites or on the job seeking apps, and you might not get a lot of jobs. So therefore, be patient, do the other things first, gather your documents, and before they put the advertisements. Now, the visas that the government, that these age cares will bring the candidates on is 4H2 visa. We talked about this 4H2 visa a while ago, but now this one is employer sponsorship, but this one now will fall under the category of this age care labor agreement. Therefore, the employer will employ you and you will come here, and then within 2 years, after 2 years, you are eligible for a permanent resident or visa 186. Now, the 3 occupations that the government or this labor agreement is focusing on is nursing support worker, personal care assistant, aged or disabled carer. Now, you might be wondering, so how do you get to apply for this, or who qualifies? Now, that's a very good question. For you to qualify for this agreement, or for you to go ahead to be able to apply for this employer sponsorship visa, or to actually benefit from this agreement, you need to have a certificate 3 in aged care or disability. And if you don't have that, that is overseas, right? And it needs to be Australian qualification, fall under Australian qualification framework. That means it should meet the qualification standards of Australia, your certificate 3. If not, if you have a diploma in nursing, if you have a bachelor's in nursing, therefore you will be able, or you are eligible to apply for this, because I assume the diploma or the bachelor's will be above certificate 3 in aged care and disability. And then if you don't have the qualification, if you've not done any certificate 3, but you have a work experience of 12 months in an aged care sector, or in disability sector, or in personal care assistant sector, and you can prove that, therefore you are eligible. How do you go about in the application process? The application process starts with skills assessment. You have to get a positive skills assessment from either ANMAC or Aqua. I'm going to do a separate video on how this is going to happen. But one thing to note is you're not required to provide English during your skills assessment. However, you will be required to provide English by the immigration, and the English requirement is 5.0 in IELTS, and it is preferably you do IELTS academic. And then there is another there are people who get concession, English concession. These are the kind of people that, let's say for example, there's a Chinese aged care. So for Chinese aged care, if you're supposed to come to work in a Chinese aged care, you're given a lower requirement for English, which will be 4.5 or equivalent in IELTS. Okay, now the other thing is that the government has stipulated that you are going to earn 51,222 Australian dollars a year, which is a good salary. And trust you me, you're going to earn more than that, because the aged care sector, they earn a lot of money, right? So just know that that is the stipulated government salary, or higher, whichever is or Australian market salary rate, whichever is higher. There is a streamlined visa nomination and priority visa application processing. There is no post-qualification work experience required. That one I've mentioned. So if as long as you have the certificate, you qualify, and you can prove that you got your certificate at least 5 years, and 5 years, at least in the last 5 years, if you can prove, therefore you are eligible. And then there is a two-way pathway to permanent residence. After 2 years, you're eligible to apply for your permanent residence. So therefore, guys, I would urge you to start gathering your documents at the moment, before these employers now start putting their advertisements. So after you gain your positive skills assessment, you now start looking for an employer. So once you get the employer and the employer is willing and is happy to actually give you a job, then from there, that's when now you go ahead and make the application process. The application process is quite easy. It is straightforward. You can use an agent if you want, but otherwise, if not, you can just do the applications by yourself. So guys, up to there, I hope this video has been helpful. I hope I have answered the questions that I've been receiving, and I hope that you will find it in your heart to give me a subscription. If you've not, give me a thumbs up, and I will see you guys on my next video. Bye.